Hello guys, my name is Kiki and welcome to my channel. I've been a crafter for almost 30 years, yeah, that long. But if you want to learn how to decorate your home on a budget while having fun at it, subscribe, hit the like and stay tuned.
DIY number 1, and we're gonna recreate this beautiful portrait candles that go for $11 each. And I decided not to go with candles, I just want to make the portraits. For that, I'm gonna use those circles that I got from Walmart and this beautiful paper that I got from Craspire. I also have this printable, and I found it on Google. What I'm doing is I'm just cutting it with my X-Acto knife, and here you can see all of them. Now I'm going to take those ovals and I'm going to transfer it to my paper just using the X-Acto knife, just like that. And after I do that, I have a perfect oval, but yet I have to work on it a little bit with my X-Acto knife. Now that I have it, I'm gonna recreate that or cut another one, and I'm gonna use this beautiful paper also from Craspire and cut the bigger one, and that one is an oval plaque from, no, that one is from Dollar Tree. Now I'm just cutting that paper, and then I'm gonna grab my Mod Podge. I'm gonna apply a little bit of Mod Podge like you see here. Then I'm gonna apply my paper like that, and I'm gonna use this tool from Mod Podge or Plaid, and I'm just gonna make sure that I have my paper flat. Then I'm gonna take this beautiful decal that I made, and you will find that in the description box down below, and I'm just gonna measure it with my printable. And I'm just using a scoring tool that comes from the Cricut. You can use anything just to score it, then cut it. Then we're gonna transfer that beautiful decal to the oval. Let me just make sure that I have it over here, and then we're gonna grab it and stick it to our oval like this, and then I'm gonna make sure that it is there so I can remove my transfer tape. I remove my transfer tape, and we have a beautiful frame. Look at that, it's looking so beautiful. After that, I'm gonna take my printable, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the same sponge that I use to apply the Mod Podge that has a little bit of Mod Podge over there. Apply some Mod Podge on the back, stick it to my oval that now is a frame. Make sure that it is stuck there, and look at that, they look so beautiful. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna edge them because that paper looks so white, and those edges need a little bit of roughing with a sandpaper. So I'm gonna take some sandpaper and I'm just gonna go all around it to make sure that this looks a little bit more vintage. Then I'm gonna take some of this antique wax from Waverly, and I'm gonna go all around it like this. You will see that I go around it and make sure that some of that antique wax is on my paper as well. I'm just gonna go all around the frame like that, and then I'm gonna take the picture and I'm gonna start just rubbing some of that paint or antique wax over the paper to make sure that it ages a little bit more that white paper. I'm gonna do that with all of my frames, and after I do that, we will have these beauties. Let me show you. And here you can see them, and I only spent $4 for all of them, including paper and everything. And the candles went for $11 each, so I think I did really well on those. And this is part of the high-end for cheap that my beautiful friends Jani and Diane from DIYS are hosting, and you will find the links to all of these beautiful and talented ladies in the description box down below, as well as DIYS' channel. Go and check them out, and go and check out the playlist that you will find as well, because you're gonna find lots of beautiful high-end dupes. DIY number 2, and I'm gonna recreate the book from Hocus Pocus, and this one is a $75 book. And for that, I'm using this beautiful book that I got from Craspire. It is so perfect for this, and it is for storing some tools to make wax seals. But we remove that, and we're gonna use Model Magic, and as well, we're gonna use a half wooden bead. With that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the eye, but first let me take some of that Model Magic, and I'm gonna start making the thingies that go on top of the book. And as you can see, I'm just going to the back, making sure that I have that rectangle thingy that goes there. And what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that I have my rectangle thingy. After that, I cut the excess using my X-Acto knife, making sure that I have a cute rectangle over there. Then I'm going to make a snake using some of this Model Magic clay. And what I'm doing is I'm just making a snake like this. If you want to see a more in-depth tutorial for this book, come back on Friday because I will have it and it will go a little bit slower and we can talk about all of this. I'm just making the snake right now like that. Then I'm going to take more of that clay and I'm just going to start making the binding parts. I think that's the name for that one. The thingies that go on the side of the book. You will hear the word thingy a lot on this one. And I'm just going to cut the excess like that. And I'm going to make 4 of those. And as you can see, I'm using my X-Acto knife just to cut the excess of the clay, making sure that they are stuck there. Then I'm going to start working on my eye, well, on the book's eye. And as you can see, I took a half circle of that clay and I applied that on the top and one on the bottom. Now I'm just making sure that I'm making that eye and the eyelid and all of those details. And as you can see, I'm just using my fingers for that. Just making sure that I have it. After I have the shape that I want, I'm going to cut the excess like this. And then I'm going to remove that excess so I can transfer my eye to the book like this. Then I'm just going to press that clay on the book like that to make sure that it is stuck to the book. This book, it's made of like some kind of fabric and the clay stuck to it really well. But you can use any book you have. Now what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that I'm adding that eye and it is stuck there. Then I'm going to take another piece of clay and I'm just rolling it around like this to make the snakes. And as you can see, I made the tail. Then I'm going to make the loops like this. And we have a snake. And I'm just going to repeat that to the other side. And I'm going to make the other snake like that. As I told you, if you want to see how I made all of those snakes and all of those thingies, and I will go in depth, come back on Friday so you can see the full tutorial on this book. As you saw, I repeated the same thing with the other snake. And now I'm just taking more of that clay and I'm going to go around the eye to make the scope. I think that's the name for that. The thingy that goes around the eye. Now I just roll it around the eye, cut the excess, make sure that it is stuck there and give it a shape like that. And I'm just going to go all around it, making sure that it is shaped the same way that the book looks. Now I'm just taking a skewer and I'm just going to start making or poking holes onto the side thingy that has the snake and also to the snakes that we have on the corners. I'm just going to go all around it, make sure that they have those holes and also as well in the eye thingy. And after I finish with that, I'm gonna start making the scars. But first I wanted to show you that we have the binding, we have the eye, we have the snakes, and we make the holes on all of those. Now we can move on to start making those snaky thingies that are the scars. As you can see, we have them over here. Now I'm just rolling more of that clay to make sure that I have all of them like that. Cut the excess, use my fingers to make sure that it is stuck. Then I'm going to take the X-Acto knife and we're going to start cutting the scars like this. Just making sure that I go all around them and using my X-Acto knife to open that scar a little bit. As you can see, I'm wiggling it around so it opens the clay a little bit more. I'm just going to do that to all of them. And after I have that, we're just going to let this dry really well for a couple of hours so we can start painting. Let me just make sure that all of them are well. And as you can see, it is dry. We're going to take this chestnut paint and I'm going to start painting all of that. And for the corners and the things that go on silver, I used black. Let me just start painting it like this. And I'm going to start painting the scars with that brown. After that, I'm going to paint the thing around the eye. As you can see, we have the black and we have the brown. And now I'm just taking some water and more black paint and I'm just going to make a wash. As you can see, I mixed it together like that. Then I'm going to take a paintbrush and I'm going to go all around those scars and all of the things that we have there. I'm just making lines around it because I want that to go a little bit darker than the rest of it. You will see what we will do next. As you can see, I painted all of it with that black wash. And I'm just going around to make sure that I have enough wash. But as you saw, I added a little bit more of that wash around the things that we have there. You will see what we will do next. Let me just finish with this, adding a little bit of that wash, painting the things that are brown. We can give it the dry brush and it looks beautiful. Let me just finish with this one's the binding. And after we finish with that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back and start details. And for that, I'm gonna use this brush metal silver color. And I'm just gonna start painting the snake like this. And this one is the one on the back of the book. And I'm just gonna paint it like that, covering it completely, but not making a lot of pressure on my paintbrush so we can keep those shadows and we can keep a little bit of that black. Let me just finish with that and come back to the corners like this. And I'm gonna paint both of them and the thingy on the eye. Then I'm gonna take the chestnut and I'm gonna take some of this white paint and I'm gonna mix it together. And this one will be the color that we will use to give it some highlights to the book. As you can see, I tried to start dry brushing, but the wash was a little bit wet still. So I'm just gonna start highlighting the book like this. And I'm just gonna go all around it, painting those thingies in the middle with this paint. After I finish with that, we're gonna start mixing those paints to make the colors like blend a little bit better. So let me just finish with this. And as you can see, I'm just mixing my wash like that with the paint. I add a little bit of that wash and then I take the paint without that drying. We don't need that to dry. I just add my wash and then take my paint and go all around it and it just blends perfectly, just like makeup. And I'm just gonna start highlighting those scars like that. After I highlight all of my scars, I'm gonna start making the book look more like the book. And after I do that, I'm gonna do the same to the eye. And as you can see, it's looking a lot more like book. And I'm just gonna go all around it like that. When I finish with that, we are gonna be ready to start painting the sides. As you can see, I just added a little bit of that paint to the binding so it has a little bit more light. Then I'm gonna start just blending it a little bit more with the shadows and more paint like that. Then I'm gonna add a little bit more shadow and more paint to blend it together really well. Yeah, this is all about the painting and all about the blending. And after I finish with that blending, I'm gonna take some of this green paint and I'm gonna paint the iris. No, that's a pupil. Pupil. That was a mouthful. And I'm gonna just add some brown on top of that green like this to make it a little bit more muted because that green, it was really, really, really green. Then I added the iris. Yeah, I think that's the iris. And I'm adding some detail with a smaller paintbrush like that. And after that, we're gonna start just making the stitches. And for that, I'm just using Plaster by Waverly. And I'm gonna go all around it, as you can see, just making lines on the scars like that. And I'm gonna do that to all the scars, like this. And look at that, it is looking a lot like book. And after I finish with this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how beautiful this turned out. Let me just finish here. And here you can see it, and I made it for $20, but you can make it for $5 using just Dollar Tree items. But let me know what you think about this one in the comments below because, yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I would love for you to subscribe and become part of our YouTube family. And if you're a returning subscriber, you know how much I love you. Remember that in the description box down below, you're gonna find the links to all of my social media so you can go and check me out over there and we can be friends and have lots of fun.
DIY number 3, or our last DIY, and I'm going to recreate this beautiful candle that I loved, and it cost $49. For that, I'm going to use this candle that I got from Walmart a long time ago, and some of this paper, and I printed this on tissue paper. You will find in the description box down below a link to Sandra from the Schwowin's Nest DIY, and she's awesome with it. Everything I know from this type of printing, I learned it from her. So now that I have my tissue paper, I'm going to remove all of that tape, being really careful. And after I remove that, we're going to be ready to start decorating. And what I'm going to do first, I'm going to just measure my candle, cut the excess that I have over there in the bottom like this. And I'm going to remove that excess. And after that, we will just roll it around our candle. And we're going to cut the excess over here as well. Then I'm going to take some of that tape and I'm going to add it over here like this. And then it is pretty easy. I'm going to use a heat tool and I'm just going to go all around it, making sure that the candle melts a little bit so the tissue paper adheres to that candle or that wax. I'm just going to go all around it like this, making sure that the wax is melting. As you can see, it changes colors when it's melting. You won't see the tissue paper, you will start to see a candle. So I'm just going to go all around it like this, making sure that I have it. Then I'm going to cut all of that excess on the top like this. And then I'm going to go back with my heat tool, making sure that all of those edges are really nicely stuck there to the candle like that. And after I finish with that, we're going to start decorating it. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a candle like this one. I'm just going to light this candle like that. And I'm just going to drip some of that wax on the border. For this, you have to be really careful. So just take your time. And if you're a kid, do not play with fire. Let your parent do this. So I'm going to go all around it like this, just pouring some of that wax on the side. And as you can see, I'm being really careful with my hands. So just take your hands off and add the wax to it. It's the best way. And after we have it, here you can see it. Now I'm just going to paint that thingy, and I tried to take it off, but it wouldn't come off. So if you're using a Dollar Tree candle, it will be a lot easier. But what I did is I just took a paintbrush, some black paint, and I painted it, and here you can see it. And now here you can see it, and this one is so cute. But I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below, because for this one, it was a free DIY, and I just cannot with this one. She's so cute. Let me know what you think.
If you want to buy me some crafting supplies, you will find this link in the description box down below. You don't have to do that. You can support your favorite creator by watching, sharing, and liking their videos. But if you want to buy me crafting supplies, this link, you will find it in the description box down below, and you will get a shout out in my channel.
And this is how all of them turned out. You can see them together over here. This set, I'm in love with it. I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below because, yeah, I'm biased. Remember that you will find all the products that I use from Craspire in the description box down below, as well as a coupon code of $5 off your $40 or more purchase. Go and check them out. They have lots of beautiful things over there. And remember to check out the playlist because you will find there lots of beautiful things. Thank you, Deco Easy.
And that's it for today. This is everything I have for you. Remember to share this video with a friend and hit the thumbs up and subscribe so you can keep an eye out on everything that I will be bringing you. That was a mouthful. And remember that that's the free way to help this girl out. Take care, my beautiful friends. Bye-bye.